It began with a small group of followers in ancient Judea, and today, it is the largest religion on earth, embracing over 2 billion people across continents and cultures. But how did a faith born in persecution rise to transform civilizations? This is the story of Christianity, its birth, its struggles, its triumphs, and its enduring message. Part 1, The Beginning. Jesus of Nazareth. Around 2,000 years ago, in the small Roman province of Judea, a man named Jesus of Nazareth began to preach a message of love, forgiveness, and salvation. Born into a humble family in Bethlehem, raised in Nazareth, Jesus began his ministry around the age of 30. He gathered 12 disciples, teaching that the kingdom of God was near, that love for God and neighbor was the greatest commandment. His message challenged the religious authorities and unsettled the Roman rulers. Yet, his compassion for the poor, the outcasts, and the sinners won him followers everywhere he went. Sound, gentle harp, wind through olive trees. He healed the sick, forgave sins, and spoke in parables, stories that revealed deep truths about faith and the human heart. But the more his following grew, the greater the opposition became. In Jerusalem, around the year 30 AD, Jesus was arrested, tried, and crucified under Roman rule. His death seemed to mark the end of his movement, but for his followers, it was only the beginning. 3 days later, they proclaimed that he had risen from the dead. This event, the resurrection, became the cornerstone of Christian faith, the promise of life after death. The early church and the apostles. After Jesus' ascension, his disciples, now called apostles, spread his teachings throughout the Roman Empire. Peter, once a fisherman, became the leader of the early church. Paul of Tarsus, a former persecutor of Christians, was transformed on the road to Damascus and became one of Christianity's greatest missionaries. Paul's letters, written to churches across the empire, became part of the New Testament, forming the foundation of Christian theology. Despite fierce persecution, the movement grew. Christians met secretly in homes and catacombs, refusing to worship the Roman gods or the emperor. Many were imprisoned, tortured, or killed, yet their faith endured. In the words of early church father Tertullian, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Over time, the faith that began with fishermen and shepherds began to touch kings and scholars alike. Constantine and the rise of the Christian empire. Sound, marching footsteps, distant trumpet. By the early 4th century, everything changed. In 312 AD, Emperor Constantine the Great claimed to see a vision before battle, a cross in the sky, with the words in this sign, "Conquer." Victorious, Constantine embraced Christianity and ended centuries of persecution with the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. For the first time, Christians could worship openly. Churches were built across the empire, and the faith that once hid in the shadows became a symbol of power and empire. The Council of Nicaea in 325 AD sought to unite believers under one doctrine, affirming the divinity of Christ and giving rise to the Nicene Creed, a declaration of faith still recited today. But this new alliance between church and empire also brought challenges: power, politics, and theology intertwined. Christianity became the state religion of Rome, and the church's influence spread far. The medieval church and the age of faith. As Rome fell in the 5th century, Christianity remained, carrying with it the light of learning and faith through the Middle Ages. Monks in monasteries preserved ancient knowledge, copying scriptures by candlelight. Missionaries like St. Patrick brought Christianity to Ireland, while St. Augustine of Canterbury carried it to England. The church became the heart of medieval life, from birth to death, from peasant to king. Cathedrals rose as symbols of heaven on earth, adorned with stained glass and stone. But power can corrupt even holy institutions. As the church grew in wealth and influence, divisions emerged, political rivalries, corruption, and disputes over doctrine. By 1054, a great schism split Christianity into Eastern Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism, a divide that still endures. In the following centuries, the church wielded immense power, crowning kings, blessing armies, and even launching the Crusades to reclaim the Holy Land. For many, faith was hope. For others, it was control. Yet, through all, the message of Christ endured. The Reformation and new beginnings. By the 16th century, cracks appeared within the church's authority. A German monk named Martin Luther, troubled by corruption and the sale of indulgences, nailed his 95 Theses to the door of Wittenberg Church in 1517, a bold act that sparked the Protestant Reformation. Luther's message was simple yet revolutionary: salvation comes through faith alone, not through works or payment. Across Europe, reformers like John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli, and John Knox led movements that gave rise to new branches of Christianity: Lutheran, Reformed, Anglican, and Presbyterian traditions. The Catholic Church, in response, launched the Counter-Reformation, reforming abuses and reaffirming doctrine through the Council of Trent. Europe was forever changed, wars were fought, nations divided, and Christianity expanded into diverse denominations. Christianity goes global. Sound, waves crashing, ship creaking, distant seagulls as explorers set sail across oceans, Christianity journeyed with them. Missionaries spread the gospel to Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Some came with compassion, teaching and healing. Others came hand in hand with colonization, leaving painful legacies that still echo today. Yet, across continents, Christianity took on new forms, blending with local cultures, languages, and traditions. By the 19th and 20th centuries, revivals swept through nations, from the Great Awakenings in America to the rise of Pentecostalism in Latin America and Africa. Christianity was no longer a Western faith, it had become a global movement. Christianity in the modern world today, Christianity continues to evolve. It faces new challenges: secularism, scientific inquiry, political conflict, and interfaith dialogue. But it also continues to inspire, through acts of charity, peace movements, and a growing call for unity among denominations. From the humble manger in Bethlehem to digital churches streamed across the world, the message remains: love your neighbor. Forgive. Hope. The story of Christianity is not just about empires or institutions, it's about people, faith, and a search for meaning that continues across centuries. 2,000 years later, the cross still stands, a symbol of suffering, of sacrifice, and of redemption. This is the history of Christianity, a story of faith that began with a single voice in the deserts of Judea and echoes still, across every continent, every heart, and every generation.